Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's versions of readings. This is on YouTube channel James13 Wicca. In case you're seeing it anywhere else, this is where it should be. Also, I'm now offering live readings, in-person readings, if you're near Herkimer, New York. This weekend, October 26th, I will be in Dolishville for a benefit for Lisa Knapp, doing short readings. I believe that's from 1 to 5. I'll have more information on my Instagram on that. Of course, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. This is James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Information below. If you're interested in the donation information, then information is also below. Thank you very much, and let's go into your reading. Hello, Gemini. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Gemini? Oh my goodness. That's your card at the end. All right, so there's a lot going on here. I mean, it's going to be one of those where watching the reading isn't what's making it happen. It's either there or it's not. But it's really good at the end. How do we get there, though? Whew. Okay, so somebody's going to be offering help. The strongest thing I'm getting before we get too deep into this, somebody unexpected that's not your flavor is going to offer help, and you may actually want to just kind of listen to them for a minute and to see what you can pull out of that situation, because there's really good information, but I keep feeling like it reminds me of somebody I know from my past where it was just hard to listen to them because they kind of droned on, and I didn't mean to kind of get drowsy, but I would get drowsy when they would speak. I wasn't mean to them or anything, but it was hard to listen to them. It was just hard. So it might be somebody like that that's hard to listen to because they just kind of, but there might be some really good information that they have for you. It's just like holding on long enough and finding it, and maybe keeping the conversation a little bit more bubbly so that they keep it moving. Keep that in mind. I just remember talking to that one person. It made me so drowsy. It was hard to talk to them. Which, yeah, they could have been in, like, energy suck. But that's the past. Let's keep going with your reading. What's coming in at the moment? I feel like there's something coming in at the moment that I did not want. Okay. So if this reading is hitting, I feel like that's what we're starting with. Something came in and I did not want it. This was not my idea. This was not my idea of a good time. And when it came in, I did not want it. We got the Ace of Cups upside down. Which, yeah, I already said that. Did not want it. I keep getting I did not want it, but I also see that, like, whatever it is, it's preparing you for something later. It's going to be one of those. It feels like I'm stuck in it. I don't want to be here. This is not my thing. Yeah, you are gaining information. You're gaining energy here, and you're getting things you need. I keep getting, like, it just reminds me of learning about a machine that I'm just like, I don't even work in printing. I don't know why I care. But then later on, I find out that I get a job, or I work with somebody, or I get in a relationship with somebody, and that's all they do. And it's kind of like, okay, I didn't think it made any sense at the time, but now I'm glad I know what I know. It could be one of those. Take it with a grain of salt. The deeper I get into this situation, the less I like it. Take it with a grain of salt. It goes better at the end. So I'm just like, wow. This is, all right. Cheerful. This is definitely one of those readings. It's either happening or it's not. Watching this reading does not make it happen, so it's nothing to fear. It's just like either it's there or it's not. And I feel like I'm finally going to have a moment where I'm like, I feel like I'm stuck in this situation, but I'm going to have this moment where I'm just like sitting down and I'm just like, I don't know what I need to do, but I don't want to be here. I don't want to be a part of this situation. I do not like it. I'd like the energy to lift a bit more, but it's not easy. It's not going up very easily. I feel like I have to accept that whatever it is, I'm stuck here. I feel like I'm stuck here. Now, I'm not usually a big fan of saying that because I'm like, usually you have options, and like you can clearly see all the options. It's not about seeing options, it's about which ones are actually realistic that you would take. That's the thing. And it's whatever, like for a lot of you, it's probably a job. For some of you, it could be something family wise, a relative or somebody might be dating or getting married to somebody that you just do not care for, and then maybe somebody that you have to see constantly based on who they're marrying. So it's kind of like, I do not like them at all, but I guess I'm stuck with it. There's an aspect of this to where I feel like once I accept that like this is how this goes, especially if it's a job situation, it's kind of like if I'm staying at this job, this whatever this is what it is. I just seem to have to accept this one little piece. It's hard. I do not want to do that. I do not like it, and it just feels very downtrodden, and I'm just trying to like find a better way to do it, and I feel like the more I fight against it, the heavier it gets. The thing is, when you hit this moment, this is a pivotal moment to where things can start upturning for you, ironically. Because once you accept that moment, you seem to have a couple different ways you can handle it, obviously. But all the ways that go towards keeping it a mystery or kind of like, I don't know what's going on, it may stay like that because you don't want to look at it, which makes sense if this is as uncomfortable as it feels the way I'm getting it. Because you have the Ten of Wands over there, or the Ten of Swords, excuse me. That's not a fun moment. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But if you kind of like keep going, like, I'm just not going to deal with it, I'm just going to ignore it as much as I can, and you keep it a mystery, the energy does not pick up. It does not improve. It just kind of like, it's like a mess in the kitchen that nobody cleans up. It's just kind of like, it's just always there. It's kind of like, if I don't want to deal with that mess, I can't even go near the kitchen, let alone in the kitchen, because it's a food mess. And it's like, oh, that seems to keep the energy kind of lower. To bring the energy up where you kind of want it so you can have more power in this situation, or at least feel like you have more power, is this card, which is interesting. Seven of Wands, I love how they do it in this deck. I just think this is a very fresh way to look at it. A lot of times it's holding things back and not letting things in. But in this one, this person uses it as a bridge. And they get across this bridge, but then, in my opinion, it's once they get across, they don't let anybody else come across. They might even pick up those sticks. This is kind of how I feel with this thing. Like, I feel like I need to kind of figure out what's actually going on here. I have to get my vantage point and not let people know that I'm paying attention. Kind of just, I feel like people are not really paying attention to you for whatever reason. In this situation, in this case, that could be an advantage because you're going to find more things that go to your help than to your hindrance by kind of like, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to figure out what's really going on. And I'm going to see what's coming. And I think I'm going to keep it to myself. That Seven of Wands is keeping other people out. And that's kind of that part of that for me. It's kind of like, I'm gonna figure out what's going on myself, and I'm just gonna keep other people out of my business. Which means maybe just distancing yourself from some people for a time. Be careful of your thoughts at this time, because it does feel like you very much don't care for it, which could make it more difficult. It's kind of like, keep looking for the things that work right. Look for the things that you want in the situation, that are not going anywhere, that you want. It's kind of like, having that person marry into the family and you're like, I don't like them at all, but kind of like, oh yeah, but they know about this vocation, so they have information there. They do, keep things moving over there. They keep people talking over there, and we find out, people tell us stuff because of how that person started it. Maybe that person doesn't get good information, but because they got the connection for us, we can go and talk to that person too and get the actual information, stuff like that. There might be connections through connections. This reminds me of that too. Having somebody in the family that you're like, I don't like that person, but by hanging out with them, I met somebody else, and I got introduced to somebody, and then I was able to connect through that. I don't know if that's scrupulous or whatever, but unscrupulous or whatever, but um, I'm getting that, judgment in this situation can come to you, but it's about participation. It's definitely about participation. Um, as in with life, everything has its phases. Whatever it is, I feel like once I see it for the truth of it and I start making peace with it, even if I don't want to, they're showing me an example of my own life, and I'm like, I'm just like, I'm not, you got the Ten of Swords, so it makes sense why they're showing me what they're showing me. It's kind of like, be involved with what you want to be involved, hold back where you want to hold back, but it's like, stay involved, keep the information going so you know what's going on. Judgment can go in your favor. More conflicts are coming with this situation. I don't know if I like that in the sense of like, sometimes conflicts have to happen so resolution happens. I don't know if that's what's going on here, if we're just going into a circular pattern where it's just confrontation with confrontation, conflict with conflict. King of Wands comes in the Tower card like this on the dice, which tells me nothing really completely falls apart, but nothing seems to be very stable either. The King of Wands makes me feel like somebody comes in and causes a big commotion and just disappears, and I feel like this keeps happening, so there might be an added level here. And I feel like they're saying if you look closely, you'll get the heads up about what's going on with that. Not only when it's probably gonna happen, but like also like why. You'll probably get to the underneath of it, like, okay, so that's what's going on there. That's why this is happening. This is why this person shows up. This is that person is actually calling that person and telling them to do that. That's literally what's happening. So that's why that's happening. By knowing that deeper level of information, it'll help you kind of navigate it a little bit better. But that's not going to happen unless you're deeper into it. So this is one of those things. This is just one of those. I know we're going to a good spot in a minute, but like, you may find that that's where your power place is, to not really change the situation as much as be informed with it. And when you're informed with it, I feel like then I start changing where I stand. I start changing where I sit. So if this was a business situation, it's kind of like, well, before I knew the ins and outs of this, I probably would have gone and transferred to this other department. But lo and behold, this person is either going that way anyway or has very strong connections in that department. I wouldn't have liked that if I hadn't known this. Now that I know what I know, I can move over here. This person and their influence doesn't like anything to do with this. In fact, the people there don't care for the person. I don't care for either. We still have to work with that person, but I can move over here. This can be more to my advantage. It's going to be like, it's kind of a long game on this one. I do get after a while, because you do got the Four of Swords and you got the everyone is safe. Is that what this is? Your loved ones are safe. I kind of feel with this, I'm more of an intuitive reader. I feel like you're going to find a place where you feel more comfortable. I feel that with this. I feel safer. I feel more comfortable. But it's only by participating and staying involved with it and sorting it out. You can end up with a position to where you feel like this is where I need to be. So I feel like I'm mirroring that same sentiment, but it's like, this is your card, the Lover's card, and this is like, you're protected. I'm getting like, this situation does have the ability to show you a place where you actually fit more comfortably and actually can be happy. Right now, it seems like the way things are going, I don't see anywhere where this is. So it reminds me of like, it just reminds me of this lady. She was very nice, still is. And she ended up working in this business where people were very brutal. And she just didn't fit. She didn't really feel like that's maybe where she should be. But she also was very strong. And she was just like, just because I don't fit here doesn't mean I'm not going to show up. And she needed the job, so she did. It took her a while. I don't know if it took her a couple of years. It might have. But she eventually had people treating her better. And she actually moved up in the ranks. Then she got a spot where she had the power to, like, if people really were nasty to her, she could shut them down quite quickly. I remember that. But she also, she kind of changed. And it was when she kind of like said, "This is where I'm going to be," and she dug in her heels and said, "This is where I'm going to be." She started changing the situation and started moving forward in a way that actually worked for her. Um, so, and they're saying that's this situation too. It's kind of like whatever reason it feels like I'm a part of this. I need to be a part of this. I don't seem to feel like I'm able to get out of it. So they're saying instead of stepping back and just letting it all be a mystery and just putting your energy elsewhere, go in there, find out what's going on, find the place that works best for you. It may not be like, it's still like, even with that analogy with that lady that I used to know, I wouldn't say that she really liked that job, but she felt like this was where she made the best money. And when she got to that certain position, I remember her saying, like, she was not interested in starting over new somewhere else, and that she felt like she had control over what she needed to have control over, and she knew how it worked. So she was happy with the aspects she was happy with, and she accepted the things that she didn't, and she just kind of moved forward with it. It worked for her. And this situation can be similar like that for you too. It can be more to your advantage. It can more work the way you need it to, but it may take some time to really unearth it. But it's like you got to get in there, you got to dig it up. And if you're willing to get in there and dig it up, you can have a lot more here than it looks like. You can be in that. This is your card again. You can be in that position that you want to be, that you really probably at this point don't even realize exists. But through searching it out, through digging it up, you'll be like, oh, had no idea that was there. But now that I know, that's for me. Now I got to get me over there. Is there anything else with this? It's the long game. I think I already said that. It is the long game with the Seven of Pentacles. But whatever this is, it feels like I keep feeling like I can't get out of it anyway. So it's kind of like, it doesn't have to mean that that's the literal truth because you're Gemini. You can see other ways to get out, obviously. But it's kind of like what realistically would work, what would realistically fit your life. And it's kind of like, all right, what other things can I do here? How can I dig deeper and realign this so at least I can live with it and find my best chance to be happy with it as realistically as possible. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.